What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Everything NYJ Podcast. I am your host, Liam. The New York Jets lose a heartbreaking game up at Orchard Park, up at Buffalo. The New York Jets lose 20-12, and it was a heartbreaker. We're going to get into all of that, but before we get into it, I just wanted to mention that you guys, you two, can follow us, Everything NYJ, on all social media platforms at Everything NYJ. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed or if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and do so. That really helps us out, helps bring wonderful guests on every Wednesday. All right, so let's get into the video a little bit, right? So the New York Jets, they really beat themselves. They did. I mean, it seems like every time we're playing these good teams and the game is 50-50, it seems like the New York Jets always come up short. And it's not because of lack of talent. It's not because the other team is better. Because the Buffalo Bills are a damn good team. They are. The Minnesota Vikings were a damn good team. They're not 10-3, 10-2 for no reason. They're a very good team. The Buffalo Bills possibly one of, if not the best team in the AFC. And the New York Jets, they stood toe-to-toe with them. Going into halftime, Buffalo was leading 7-0. It was anybody's game up until probably the middle of the third quarter. Even in the fourth quarter, we had chances to come back. We lost by one score, guys. It's not like we were blown out. But you know what it is? It's the costly penalties that continue to kill us. It's the stupid mistakes. Robert Saleh says it all the time, and I believe him. He says it perfect. Most games in the NFL are lost, not won. In the New York Jets, for some reason, we keep finding ways to lose the game. It's ridiculous. The costly mistakes, the Michael Carter fumble, the Joe Flacco fumble. Oh my God, we're going to get into Joe Flacco a little bit because I cannot stand Joe Flacco. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. The CJ Mosley encroachment off sides, like, it was funny at the time. Like, it made me laugh because of like how stupid it was. And even a couple players on the Bills were laughing, but like that turned into a touchdown drive. And that's just to name a few. There's a ton of stupid mistakes that I'm not even going to be able to mention. Missed tackles, blown assignments. There's a ton of it, man. There's a ton. The New York Jets had 7 penalties for 61 yards. You're not going to beat a very good team with that. You're just not going to. Let's see, we got some comments here. Richard Velasquez Jr., what's going on, my man? He says that was a killer. Yeah, man, absolutely. All these penalties, they're all killers. They really are. You're not going to beat a good Buffalo team at home with 61 yards. We cannot be giving away 61 yards plus, not even just 61 yards. It's every week. It seems to be these stupid penalties. That's really become a trend. You have to play a lot cleaner. Robert Saleh said in his press conference today, you have to pay attention. It's the little details that you have to pay attention to. It's not like we don't have the talent. Mike White looks like a freaking superstar out there. Garrett Wilson is becoming elite. Bam Knight is emerging. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Braxton Berrios, Michael Carter. We have the talent. We have a very talented team. But this team is very young at the same time. So we're learning from these inexperienced mistakes. It's like these stupid mistakes, they happen a lot in college and high school. So you figure by the pros these guys should know better. But you know what? The game is just so fast in the NFL. It really is. So that's what I'm going to chalk it up to. It's just like we're going to learn, we're going to get better. We're going to kind of break this down position by position. So we're going to start with the quarterback, right? Mike White was 27 for 41. He had 268 yards, no touchdowns, and no interception. Mike White took a beating out there, an absolute beating. Yeah, definitely, man. It's from our friend Richard. Thank you for joining us tonight, Richard. Love to have you here, man. Mike White took a freaking beating, though. He did. How he came back 2 times, whatever it was, it's incredible, man. That shows the guts, the grits, everything that Mike White has. He was leaving his body, his broken, battered body out there on the field. Ed Oliver was blasting him. Matt Milano was blasting him. Mike White was sent to the hospital after the game because of how beat up he was. Because he had no protection from our offensive line, no protection whatsoever. I felt bad for him. I really did. Like you just see him on the ground. He can't catch his breath. It's sad. It's embarrassing. He was beat the hell up, and he kept coming back. Mike White is a warrior. If you're just questioning Mike White now, if you don't think he's the guy, then you're just an idiot. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Like I'm sorry to say that, but Mike White is the guy. That's his team out there. You would have had to put him in a body bag to get him from not coming back in. That's what you had to do to Mike White. And it was pretty damn close. Mike White took an ass kicking out there. Ass kicking. I have nothing but respect. Mike White is a warrior. Mike effing White. It's true. Michael Carter said Mike White is a fucking soldier. Those are his words exactly, not mine. Michael Carter's. This team is rallying around him. This team, they see a lot in Mike White. And Mike White, he wants to win so bad. He knows what's on the line here. He has a chance to go to the playoffs, and he wants that. You get into the playoffs with Mike White, then whether it be here or somewhere else next year, Mike White is at least competing for a starting job. It could happen, man. Mike White, I just have so much respect for him. And then Joe Flacco comes in. Joe Flacco's 1 for 3, 1 yard and a fumble. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely freaking terrible. I cannot stand Joe Flacco. There's no reason that he should have been quarterback 2. I haven't liked this guy all season. Some people were high on Joe Flacco. I was not one of them. I really wasn't. He showed me nothing. He's out there. He's collecting a paycheck. He's setting up his little retirement fund. But he shouldn't be out there. He can't operate a simple NFL offense. He can't. He's too immobile. He can't, I don't know. I don't know what happened to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, he forgot how to play football. He really did. It's sad, man. It really is, you know. Joe Flacco is, you know, a former Super Bowl MVP, one of the all-time great quarterbacks. It's time to hang it up, man. It's time to hang it up. Like, it's one thing if you want to go become a backup somewhere, but he still has it in his mind. And like, I understand, like, an athlete's mind, a competitor's mind, you always got to be the best. And in his head, he's the best. But dude, you're not. You're not the best. You're getting beat up. You can't run an NFL offense at this point. It's sad. It's embarrassing. He's ruining his legacy. He's out there collecting a paycheck. You could tell he doesn't give a shit. Joe Flacco does not give a shit. There's no reason that Zach Wilson should have been inactive compared to Mike White. I mean Joe Flacco. Excuse me. I'm getting all my quarterbacks mixed up because we have such a freaking quarterback. So many of them. It's ridiculous. But I mean, I guess I understand. Like, you know, you want Zach Wilson to take a step back, be inactive, learn the game. But I think from now on, you need to make Zach Wilson QB2. And then hell, even get Trevor activated. I don't care. Anybody but Joe Flacco. We should have left him in Buffalo. I don't want to see Joe Flacco on this team anymore. I don't want to see Joe Flacco in a green and white uniform. I don't want to see him wearing those black pants. Just hang it up, old man. You're done. You're done. Done. All right. So anyway, now that my little rant about Joe Flacco is over, we're going to get into the wide receivers a little bit. And rookie Garrett Wilson continues to shine. He is becoming the dude. He broke Keyshawn Johnson's rookie receiving record or whatever it was. He had 6 receptions for 78 yards. And Garrett Wilson is a legit QB1. I mean, wide receiver 1, excuse me. I have all my positions mixed up here. It was such a heartbreaking loss. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. But I have a lot of positivity. And one of those reasons is because of Garrett Wilson. He's really emerging. He has such good chemistry with Mike White. And a lot of this chemistry is what we wanted Zach Wilson. We wanted that Wilson to Wilson connection. Well, you know what? We didn't get it, but we're sure as hell getting that White to Wilson connection, which is just as good. Just as good. Garrett Wilson, man, he's making some really tough catches. Uh, he's just continuing to come on. He's improving. This guy is going to be a very serious threat in the NFL for years to come. Mark my words. Mark my freaking words. I know it's coming. Elijah Moore, he probably had his best game of the season. He had 60 receptions for 60 yards. Somebody that started off slower in the middle of the beginning to the middle of the season, he's really coming on. Maybe it was Zach Wilson overall that just wasn't able to get him the ball. Whatever the situation was, Mike White is finding a way to get Garrett Wilson open. He's finding a way to get the ball to Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson looks like he's fighting his love for football again, fighting his love for the Jets again. It's incredible, man. Corey Davis went out with a concussion. He's in the concussion protocol. Not sure if he's going to be playing against Detroit. We need him for Detroit. It's a very big game. Corey Davis has been very up and down, but overall he's been very solid. I like Corey Davis. My screen is a little dark here. Let me fix that real quick. My brightness sometimes just goes down crazy. All right. I don't know if you guys were able to see that or not, but it was kind of bugging me a little bit. But yeah, Corey Davis, man, with a concussion. And that was another thing. These injuries just riddled the team. Absolutely riddled the team between Mike White, Corey Davis, Quinnen Williams we'll get into a little bit later. Let's get into the running backs a little bit, right? James Robinson was once again inactive. That's going to piss him off, as he always says. No Ty Johnson. I don't know where Ty Johnson was. I don't know if anybody in the comment section can tell me if Ty Johnson was just inactive, injured. I didn't see anything with Ty Johnson yesterday. It's a little funny. I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he's sick. I know a lot of players came down with the flu. If anybody in the comment section knows what happened to Ty Johnson yesterday, just feel free to drop it in the comment section and let me know. But James Robinson, I've been saying for these past couple of weeks that he has not impressed me whatsoever. He's really been a letdown signing, to be completely honest with you. I don't think that we need him. I mean, kudos to, my hat goes off to Joe Douglas, because once Breece Hall went down, we kind of panicked because we wanted to be a pound the rock team. We want to be a established to run the ball type team. And James Robinson he doesn't suck. He really doesn't. I think he was very good for Jacksonville. But obviously, they have Travis Etienne, so that's able to bring James Robinson over here. But I think he's really underperformed. I really think so. Bam Knight, he is a dude. Bam Knight is emerging as a star running back for the New York Jets. He's possibly even better than Michael Carter. And this guy was on the practice squad just a couple weeks ago. We said that this could be a turning point for Bam Knight, and it sure as hell have. Bam Knight, 17 carries for 71 yards and 1 touchdown. He had the only touchdown of the game for the New York Jets. He runs north to south. He's so young, dude. He's only gonna keep improving. He's only going to keep improving. Michael Carter had 5 carries for 5 yards and a fumble. Definitely not a good day for Michael Carter. I mean, and I got to tip my hat to Michael LaFleur and the New York Jets, because they did not back away from the running game. Guy makes people miss tackles. Yeah, absolutely. He really does. You cannot bring Bam Knight down on the first tackle. He's gonna get into open space. He always does. I just love watching him get better each and every week, because he was just a practice squad guy a couple weeks ago. And now he's like the starting running back for the New York Jets, and he's shining. He could handle the pressure. He could handle the game. The game doesn't seem to be too fast for him. And just his story is incredible too. You hear Bam Knight, a couple, in like one of his press conferences, he was even saying that when he was cut by the Jets, he didn't think that he was good enough to be an NFL player. He didn't think that he was good enough to be at this level. Hey man, sometimes all you need is one opportunity. That's what we're seeing with Bam Knight. This is his one opportunity. He's making the most of it. And how do you not continue to roll with him going, for the rest of the season? There's 4 games left. You got to win at least 3, possibly get in the playoffs. You got to keep rolling with Bam Knight. I really think that he is the number 1 running back on this team right now. Obviously, besides Breece Hall. I think next year we got to roll with Breece Hall, Bam Knight, and Michael Carter, to be completely honest with you. James Robinson can go. Ty Johnson can go. That's my little 3-headed monster that I want. Michael Carter, like I said, obviously not a good day for him by any means. Sometimes you're just not going to have those good games. It happens, man. The fumble just really killed us. It really did. There's really not much that you could say out, about Michael Carter. Getting into the tight ends, Tyler Conklin, he had 5 targets for 28 yards. Mike White was trying to get Tyler Conklin more involved, but he was just taking such a beating out there that, like, sometimes the ball just wasn't getting to him. But Tyler Conklin, he runs very hard. He might not be the fastest tight end, but he's very powerful. He can move the ball, and I think he's getting better, compared to the beginning of the season, because at the beginning of this season, I really think that Tyler Conklin was kind of a bust. I thought he was underachieving, and he's starting to emerge a little bit. He's starting to get better as the season goes on, just like a lot of these other guys. I think we are all getting better as the season goes on. Excuse me. Um, CJ Uzama had one reception for 7 yards. He's more of the blocking tight end. He doesn't really have many catches or anything. What do we have here from Richard? Second leading receiver on the team. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's gonna about wrap it up for the offense. The offensive line was terrible. I mean, it's just continuing to be a makeshift. And then if you notice with Buffalo, it's kind of funny to see GVR out there because Greg Van Roten absolutely sucks, and somehow he's making it work with Buffalo. Figures, yeah, that's our luck. But so we're gonna get to the defense, starting with the defensive line. The biggest news with this defensive line is Quinnen Williams. He went down with a non-contact injury. Everybody was fearing the worst. Everybody was fearing that it was an ACL injury or some type of knee injury. Um, just looking at it looked very scary because it didn't look like anything moved, which is obviously the biggest thing. His foot and his ankle, his leg didn't look like they were going in a direction that it wasn't supposed to be going. But it's just you see him like just move a little bit, and you could just see the pain on his face as he goes down. Hey, we got Gino in the chat. My co-host, what's up, Gino? Italy Jet. He is at the Predators Blues game. So I guess let's go Predators for Gino's sake. But yeah, with Quinnen Williams, man, thankfully it was a calf injury. He's listed as day to day. Robert Sala will know by Wednesday if he's going to play Sunday or not. We absolutely cannot afford to lose Quinnen Williams. When Quinnen Williams went down, I freaked out, dude. I really did. I mean, I was all over Twitter, just seeing what everybody else is saying. My hat was thrown off. I was pissed because Quinnen Williams is the best player on this team right now, hands down. He's having a Pro Bowl season. He's emerging. He is one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. He's at least top three. At least top three. He's right up there with Aaron Donald. He's right up there with that guy from the Chiefs. I can't remember his name. Somebody can help me out there. That'd be great. But yeah, thankfully it's just a calf injury. Once I saw him putting weight on his leg, because Quinnen Williams is a pretty big boy. Once I saw him putting weight on his leg and he was walking all right, that made me feel a little bit better. But when you see somebody go down in a non-contact injury, we've seen it one too many times where it's always the worst, and it's just so scary to watch, so scary to see. But Quinnen Williams had 2 sacks also. He was having a monster day. He cannot be blocked. Absolutely cannot be blocked. So Sheldon Rankins too, man. Sheldon Rankins had a sack, and this defensive line, they were really making Josh Allen uncomfortable. They were making Josh Allen upset. And there was plenty of times where Josh Allen had to take off and score with his legs. I think he had like 47 yards on his, in a rushing touchdown with his legs. That's the whole key, though. This defense is freaking elite, and they're making Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks with the best and most accurate arms in the NFL, very uncomfortable. They're shutting guys down. We're going to get into the linebackers before we get into our elite corners. With the linebackers, I'm really surprised that there was no QB spy. I really thought that, like, what do we have here? Matthias and the Cardinals QB is gone. Oh, yeah. That's going to be a big game tonight, though, the Cardinals and Patriots, because obviously the Miami Dolphins, the one and only time that the New York Jets ever root for the Miami Dolphins, they come up short. What else is new, man? But, if you ask everybody, if you ask the Dolphins fans, who is the greatest quarterback of all time, he's right up there with Dan Marino, and the the Dolphins are just the greatest thing since, sliced bread. So whatever, fuck them. I can't stand the Dolphins. I can't stand their fans, and I can't stand the fact that they couldn't come through for us. I mean, we control our own destiny at this point. We really do. So we're just gonna have to beat them the last week of the season, man. We're gonna have to try to at least win 3 of the next 4. Winning out the season would absolutely be great, and that really helps us get into the playoffs. But yesterday, he gets hurt 3 plays in. Oh, I'm not watching the game right now, but I'm going to be watching it right after this podcast. But yeah, it figures. The players that we need and the teams that we need to do well are I guarantee you now, the Cardinals are probably not going to win this game. It's very unfortunate, but the New York Jets, we're going to have to handle our own business. We can't rely on other teams. It is what it is, man. But yeah, with the linebackers, it's Mosley, that offside penalty that really killed us. It made me laugh at the time, but because it was just like so stupid. Like I'm just watching, like the players aren't even set, and CJ Mosley is just knocking knocks over. It was very strange. It made me laugh, but evidently that did end in a touchdown. That's just like one of those stupid things at the beginning of the show I was talking about. It sucks. It really does, because that doesn't happen. They're probably not going for it, and that probably changes the whole landscape of the game. That's a completely different ball game. The final score probably isn't 20-12 at that point. It's Yeah, exactly. Everyone knew that they weren't snapping that ball. You're absolutely right, Matthias. Absolutely right. But that changes the whole that's what I'm saying. It changes the entire game. And sure enough, that leads to a touchdown, and the Jets are trailing at that point. It sucks. It really absolutely sucks. Getting to the cornerbacks though, Sauce and Reed, they continue to impress. Sauce Gardner continues to get better each and every week. He's everything that you want to see out of a rookie. He has outplayed that rookie label already. Sauce Gardner looks like he's 2, 3, 4 years in. Sauce Gardner's only getting better each and every week, and it's showing out there. Holding Knox to 4 receptions, 41 yards, and 1 touchdown. Diggs to only 3 receptions for 37 yards and no touchdowns. That's huge. Absolutely huge. Reed and Sauce, they did this to Justin Jefferson. They're doing this to Knox. They're doing this to Diggs. They're doing this to a bunch of very, very, very good wide receivers. There is not any wide receiver in this league that I am afraid of when Sauce and Reed are on that field. Michael Carter had quite a few penalties yesterday. Michael Carter to the corner. That's just something that he's just not on their level, to be completely honest with you. I know Eccles got injured. I can't remember what his injury was. Maybe somebody in the chat could help me out with that. I know he had an injury. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Michael Carter, he's had a very up and down year. He's going to need to continue to get better because uh, Bryce Hall's not the option. So I guess that leaves Michael Carter, but out of the three, he is just obviously the one in third place. But the safeties. Can we talk about how much of a liability Whitehead and Joyner are? Absolutely liabilities. These guys, they cannot tackle, and they're supposed to be veterans. And they are possibly the worst players on this team, on the starting team. Absolutely freaking terrible. This is one position out of a few that definitely needs to be addressed in the offseason, whether it's in free agency, whether it's through the draft. I would draft a safety personally. I would. If he doesn't start next year, maybe you develop him. But whatever the situation was, we cannot keep rolling with Whitehead and Joyner. We have another comment from Matthias here. Also, Carter's fumble. Sauce is great. Garrett Wilson great. And they should play Jermaine Johnson. Yeah, they should play Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson's had a pretty good year so far. When he's in the game, you definitely notice him. He's coming on, especially after his injury. I think he was much better than before his injury. Before his injury, I tend to kind of forget about him. He was like the forgotten rookie in a sense, and that might be like an unpopular opinion. Sometimes I just didn't notice him out there. Like Huff, I notice Huff like every play. He's like one of those guys. But yeah, you got to keep playing Jermaine Johnson. I think moving forward, he's definitely a staple of this team. Definitely going to be here for the next couple years. Maybe one day down the road, we were able to re-sign him to a monster deal. That'd be absolutely freaking amazing. But yeah, man, like that's what I'm saying. We do have a lot of talent on this team. Sauce is great, like you said. Garrett Wilson is great. Jermaine Johnson has the potential to be great. Even Michael Clemens out yesterday with an illness, dealing with the flu. He's been great. We have a lot of talent that's his edge. Carl Lawson, I don't know if he's worth the money. He might be somebody that you want to move on from. But getting back to my point here with these safeties, absolutely freaking terrible. Like I'm saying, it has to be upgraded. Has to be upgraded in the draft or in free agency. We cannot go into next season with our starting safeties as Whitehead and Joyner. I know. I think it was against the Bills the first time where Whitehead had that interception, And towards the middle of the season, LaMarcus Jordan looked like he was getting a little bit better, but they're both regressing. They're terrible, absolutely freaking terrible. I don't ever want to see them on this team again. Matthias only agrees 10%. He only agrees 10. I'm sure he means 100, but 10%. There it is. There it is. Knew it was in there somewhere. But so yeah, absolutely, our safeties are freaking bad. They are very, very bad. So getting into the special teams, Braxton Berrios. Oh my God, did he forget how to return punts? So many times he was up way too far. He should have been backed up. I don't know what's going on with Braxton Berrios. These last couple of weeks, they have not been kind to Braxton Berrios whatsoever. Um, he's a very good player too. You know, it just seems like these last couple of weeks he's kind of regressed a little bit. I don't think it's anything too serious. Maybe he just needs to, get his head back in the game. Whatever the situation is, I know Braxton Berrios is a very talented punt returner. He's all pro. He's a great wide receiver, or very good wide receiver. This defense don't get any turnovers anymore. Why? Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't know. Maybe the safeties suck. I mean, I was really expecting a turnover from at least Sauce or Reed, because you got to think, in like most of these games, you could think back to the New England game, the Minnesota game, even yesterday. One pick six changes the entire outcome of these games. Absolutely. It is what it is. Robert Salo, spoke briefly about it today. He didn't seem to like overreact to it by any means. But yeah, I really wish that we had a couple more turnovers. That's like the one separation thing between Darrelle Revis and Sauce, especially so far. Darrelle Revis, obviously Sauce, we're just having a small sample size by Sauce, but Darrelle Revis throughout his career, and this could change with Sauce. Darrelle Revis got those interceptions. Not only did he shut elite wide receivers down, he also got those interceptions. Where Sauce, I can't complain about him whatsoever because he is shutting elite wide receivers down left and right each and every week. I just wish that he would have a couple more interceptions, to be completely honest with you. And DJ Reed's another one that doesn't seem to get many interceptions either. I don't know what's going on with him, but that's definitely something that you want to see more of, in the upcoming weeks and then going into next season. But with special teams, like I said, with Braxton Berrios, he needs to be backed up more. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, but I trust that Braxton Berrios is going to figure it out. Greg Zuerlein hit a 26-yard field goal. Overall, man, that's pretty much every position that I wanted to go through, every position on the team. The coaching, we're going to get into. Really not a whole lot to say about it. Jeff Ulbrich has his defense playing elite like they have been. Mike LaFleur, I give him credit. I think he called a much cleaner game. I do not agree with the coaching kicking the field goal on 4th and 1. We had to go for it to the touchdown there. Absolutely. Because that could have changed the entire outcome of this game. And Robert saying, I just wanted to get some points. Anytime that you have a chance to put points on the board, you got to go for it. Not necessarily true. Like I said after the Minnesota games, we can't keep settling for field goals. Sometimes you have to just go for it. Especially like when you're losing, it's becoming late in the game or later in the game. Sometimes you just got to go for it. If you don't get it, you don't get it, man. It doesn't, it is what it is. But so sometimes I wish that we were just like a little more aggressive. We were like 0 for 1 on 4th down. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think overall Mike LaFleur did call a much cleaner game. He continued to stick with the running game because I felt like in the past couple of weeks, Mike LaFleur tend to abandon the running game. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How do you guys feel about Mike LaFleur's play calling? Did you like it? Did you not? Is there anything you would do different? If there's one thing that we learned, it was the toughness of Mike White. I just want to reiterate this. Matthias says, I wish the OC would be a little more aggressive early starting. Slow isn't good enough. Absolutely, man, because one of the reporters, it might have been Samini, I'm not sure which one it was, even said the same thing though. He asked Robert Saleh like how he feels about like starting slow, and he's like, I don't think that's really like a main concern. The New York Jets do tend to be a better second quarter team, or a second half team, excuse me. But yeah, man, I think it was against Chicago that might have been the only time this season that we had an opening drive touchdown. I could be wrong on that. I know for a fact it was against Chicago. I can't think of any other ones, though. I really can't off the top of my head. Maybe somebody in the comments knows. I don't know, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, man, the toughness with Mike White is just he's a warrior, man. He has earned all of my respect. He's earned the respect of Jet Nation. And if you're hating on him, then you're absolutely just a hater. There's nothing else to say. Like, you're just hating on him for the sake of hating on him. You're a Zach Homer, whatever you want to be called. Mike White is our guy right now. He's leaving it all on the field. The only way that Mike White is not returning from a game, if he's hurt, whatever, is if he's dead. If he's leaving in a freaking body bag. That's the only way he's not coming back in. And even then, he might try to unzip it and come back in. But overall, man, heartbreaker up at Buffalo. I didn't predict a win this week to be completely honest with you, but it's like, oh, Abby is here. Abby, you're a little late, but what's going on, Abby? How are you? Good evening. I hope you're doing well on this cold Monday. Very cold New York, man. I've been working outside and oh my God, I was freezing my ass off, man. Buffalo, those weather conditions, that is December football in Buffalo. Robert Saleh says that we're going to play them again. I'm not afraid. Matthias said White is doing a great job. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. If you're not rooting for Mike White, it's just like the underdog story, too. He's the underdog. He was the third string quarterback. He had no reps with the first team during training camp, during preseason, nothing. He was the third string quarterback just a few weeks ago. He comes in, he gets his chance, and he's lighting it up, I guess, to an extent, right? I mean, he's looked the best out of all the quarterbacks this season. He looks a lot better than Joe Flacco. He looks a lot better than Zach Wilson. And if you don't see that, then you just don't know football. It's as simple as that. I'm so sick of this argument. I might do a video tomorrow on this. I'm just so sick of this Zach Wilson versus Mike White argument. How can you roll with Zach Wilson right now? Unless Mike White legitimately gets hurt, knock on wood, he doesn't, God forbid. That's the only reason they could put Zach Wilson back in. Other than that, it's Mike White's team. They're all rallying around this guy. He has everybody playing very well. Even Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, everybody. Zonovan Knight's coming on. That's just like kind of like recap this. Abby says, "Let's go Jets." Absolutely, Abby. Big win. This is one of the most important games coming up this Sunday for the New York Jets in a very long time. I feel like I said that a lot of times this year, many times. But as the season goes on, as we get better, then yeah, more games we play, more important games we have. This is all very good experience. And you know what? If it ended right now and the Jets didn't make the playoffs, I'd have nothing but respect for Mike White. I'd have nothing but pride for our team. It sucks that we're losing these very good 50-50 losses. It sucks that we're coming up on the short end. What do we have fear from Matthias? If you played against the Patriots, we win both games. Yeah, I believe so. I really do. I really absolutely do. Mike White, he did not melt. That's the one thing. Last year everyone was saying that was like one of the biggest storylines going into this game is last year when Mike White played the Buffalo Bills, he melted. He had the 4 interceptions. He was benched. That was the end of his starting gig. Mike White needs a 100-yard rusher. Mike White he's not mobile. I mean, he's not going to be the one, if that's what you're asking, he's not going to be the one rushing. We don't need him to be. I think he's a very accurate quarterback. He threads the needle. He really does. So I don't think that there's a situation that we need Mike White to run, to be completely honest with you. That would be like my one. If you could put like Zach's mobility in with Mike White, that's definitely a franchise quarterback because Mike White has the arm. I mean, like Zach Wilson has the arm talent too. I guess if you could have a mix of our running backs. Yeah, I mean Bam Knight's come on. It is what it is. I mean Bam Knight had what did he have? Where are my numbers for Bam Knight? 71 yards. I mean, not terrible. Michael Carter obviously didn't have a good game yesterday, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean Bam Knight. Ideally he's going to get better each and every week. If there's one if there's one running back on this team that will have a 100-yard game, it's definitely Bam Knight. I'm calling it right here, right now. If you could have like Mike White's defensive reading, a mixture of White and Wilson's arm and Wilson's mobility, you have a freaking elite quarterback. You really do. It is what it is, though. I mean, we can't have obviously our cake and eat it too. But Matthias says White can't run the RPO. No one thinks he's running. Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, absolutely. He's really not mobile. He almost reminds me of like a Tom Brady, like in that sense. Like he's just not mobile, but he has a great arm. He could read defenses. I mean, overall, like we can't complain about Mike White whatsoever. The guy's a freaking warrior. He left his dead body on the field for us. I mean, like shame on the offensive line. The offensive line, they definitely need to they need to protect him. They need to play a lot better because we really control our own destiny. It's not even up to Miami. Cardinals probably aren't going to win. Their quarterback's out, like Matthias said earlier. So we're probably not, they're probably not going to win that. We need to win at least 3 out of the 4. But I kind of want to go watch that game, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching the Everything NYJ podcast, Jets versus Bills Week 14 recap review. It's been a blast. Talk to you guys later. If you subscribe to our social media platforms at Everything NYJ, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. Like the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It really helps us out. Or if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a blast. One last thing. Matthias gets the last comment. He says, if they can protect him, we will win games. I think that's really a deciding factor. I really do. If we can find a way to keep Mike White upright, then yeah, we win the game, man. Absolutely. Each and every week. Like I said, there's really not a team that I'm afraid of. If we play the Buffalo Bills once again, like Robert Saleh says that we definitely will, I think we could have them. I really do. I really do. But thank you guys for watching. That's going to end it for me. That's a wrap. Go Jets. We'll talk more Jets soon. Have a good night, everybody.